Okay, so this is my first test using Navigant Autopilot with confirmations disabled. So I just stopped to make sure I had the right settings on, and I am about to enter the freeway. This path should take me on 3 freeways and have it change automatically. So here we go. Alright, I'm keeping pressure on the wheel to make sure that it'll execute the commands when ready. So first thing we need to do is merge here. Okay, doing good. It just kind of floored the brakes because this truck's right here, but other than that, it seems to be doing all right. Okay, signaling. It's being very hesitant, but it's going. Okay, so I have it enabled to both vibrate the wheel and to make an audible ding, and it did both. So it's vibrating the wheel just before it executes the command, probably gives me 2-3 seconds, which is good, I guess. I might disable the audible ding and just leave it for vibrate only. I think that's more realistic. Okay, I got the ding and vibrate, and it is signaling and making a lane change because of the cars in front of me going too slow. So far it feels a lot like the last couple versions of firmware, except now that it's making the turns automatically, which is kind of cool. Still a little wiggly, especially when the lanes merge and expand. It wants to center itself versus staying on the left side as it should. So that's one thing I hope they improve in the future. I know ahead of time that the video is going to be a little bumpy. I got my gimbal to try to keep it as straight as possible, but this is what we got. Alright, running into some traffic. So it's about 14 minutes estimated to where I set the destination. So once we approach the destination, I'm gonna change the route to back towards my home. So we're gonna try to make a big loop around downtown Portland. So I might just fast forward this part, so you don't have to sit here for 14 minutes. So if anything comes up, I'll be back. Okay, we're back. We're about to make a lane change, so it is prompting that there is an upcoming lane change like it did before. I do not know when it will execute it though, so this will be a mystery. 0.9 miles from the interchange. I would assume it would do it sooner than later, given traffic's coming up. Alright, I'm slowing down. Got the vibration, and we're moving. So the screen will display that it's changing lanes. About a second later, it'll vibrate the wheel, and about 2 seconds later, it will actually execute the change. I feel like it needs to be a little more responsive than that, but I think this is probably the safe bet. It gives me ample time to disengage, gives me time to look around and manually check that there's no cars there. So I guess this is the safe bet for now. So I can live with it. There's going to be a couple of complicated turns, especially with the traffic coming up, so this is going to be a good example if it can execute these correctly. In my experience, and normally handles it all right with traditional navigating on an autopilot, so I have pretty good confidence. So the lane markers do disappear on this part, so sometimes it gets a little squirrely. Starts hugging the right a little bit. I'll try not to disconnect autopilot if I don't have to. Alright, got a line, so I can follow that now. Got some cars merging into this lane. Let's see if it slows down for them. Okay, so this guy to my left has a blinker on. Okay, now it sees him. So I've noticed in past updates that they're starting to do blinker recognition. It's kind of hit and miss what vehicles it actually tracks it on. So in this example, it did not see that those cars were trying to move into my lane. But once he crossed the line, it gave them space. So we are going to Interstate 5 north from here. I believe we can just stay in this lane, so once we make the next couple changes, I'm gonna change the navigation to head back towards where we started and have it make a loop. So as we make turns, the gimbal on my camera likes to get turned around a little bit, so I'll try to fix that as much as I can. So I'm pretty sure it's going to keep me in this lane. I don't think it sees a reason to change lanes. No, never mind. It's going to change lanes for us. Okay, so the next change is going to be an exit. I'm going to go ahead and cancel it because we are going to start looping back. So we're out of the heavy traffic. I think it performed pretty well. I feel like it could be more aggressive for sure. If I were driving in California with this, I think I'd get run off the road pretty quickly. In Portland, I think it works a little better. So we have a car going below what my set speed is in front of me, so we'll see if it changes lanes for me. It might stay here because we need to exit in 1.4 miles. So as you can see on the screen, we came up to a merge, and the Prius in front of me was selected as my follow car on the screen. So merging is pretty flawless in the last 2 updates. Before that, it was incredibly dangerous and would floor the brakes as cars were coming into your lane. So they've cleaned that up a lot. I'm very happy with merging now. Alright, so this next freeway interchange, we have to move 1 lane to the right. If there are cars there, it might be a little tricky, but I think it'll handle it fine. So one interesting thing, it didn't vibrate that time. So it doesn't appear to do the vibrate or ding if you are taking a freeway exit, which it didn't before. It would always automatically do that. Lane changes is where it will warn you though. So if there's a risk of running into another car, okay, it's prepping to merge, so it just slowed down pretty aggressively to get behind this white pickup, which I guess is fine, but I think we could have easily overtaken them. Okay, so we need to move over 2 lanes, I believe. Alright, got the vibrate, got the signal, and we're moving. Starting to rain, so the auto wipers are coming on. Okay, we got a vibrate, got a signal, and we're moving. Awesome. That was actually very impressive. So auto wipers is something that has greatly improved in the last couple firmware versions too. I have no complaints about them anymore. I feel like in the last month we've seen Autopilot and their neural network get to a point where I'm starting to get very impressed and actually believe what they're saying about full self-driving coming later-ish this year. At least starting to see some of the more advanced features. I have got the red light warning a handful of times that they recently introduced. A couple times false positives, which I've reported. Definitely not ready for prime time for stopping at actual lights, but it's cool to see that feature starting to come about. We make this final freeway change automatically, we will have made, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I guess, yeah, only 3 freeway changes automatically, which is pretty cool. I don't want to spend all night driving, but figured this was a good test. Okay, so that was a pretty clean change automatically. Lane merges here, I got a pickup coming on my right, coming pretty quickly. We'll see if it tries to match speed with him or if it decides to keep going. Alright, he's going to pass me, so it's probably going to try to match him. Alright, we got a vibrate. We got a signal. And it's changing lanes. So predicted that the car in front of me was going too slow, so I made this change a little bit ahead of time. Alright, we got the vibrate, got the signal. These people aren't going to let me in, but I wouldn't if I were them either. Alright. So once he passed, it actually picked up pretty well and made the lane change pretty aggressively, which I'm happy with. I think it's playing it safe, and then once it sees the opening, it just rushes in there, which is great to see. I'm pretty content with the aggressiveness of lane change. Alright, we got a vibrate. Signal. I want to change out of the passing lane. I don't know if that was really necessary. No, that guy moved over anyways. I think if we were to do that again, I might click the cancel button. So there's 2 ways to cancel a auto lane change. You can either click on the screen Realized the gimbal moved over a lot. Okay, so it's changing to a faster lane. There was a car coming up on me, so if I was paying attention a little more, I would have stopped that one. Apologize for the stupid gimbal. A little bit all over the place, isn't it? Alright. I'm gonna manually change lanes to get out of this guy's way. One thing I was reading about, which I haven't really tried, is that if it starts to signal a lane change, it won't actually execute it until you apply pressure on the wheel. So this entire drive so far, I've had my hand on the wheel applying pressure, so it would automatically execute the commands. If it prompts me again, I'm not going to touch the wheel until it gives me a second, and then we'll see if pushing the wheel will execute the command. So we have a lane change coming up. We have 1.5 miles though, so it'll probably be another mile or two. Okay, so now it's saying change lanes to follow route. It's signaling, but it's not gonna do anything until I touch the wheel. Okay, I put a little bit of pressure on the wheel and there it goes. So I kind of like this. So instead of the last versions where you'd have to push the stalk down to confirm, you can kind of just rest your hand on the wheel and then put a little bit of pressure when you want to confirm it to actually change lanes, which I think is a better way to do it. I like it. Okay, so this is, I hate this part of the freeway. It still does this. It thinks it's a merged lane, so it tries to center, and then it realizes it isn't, so then it'll pull over pretty aggressively. So we're coming up to our exit. Last night, actually, I was taking this exit, and I let it use Autopilot, and it actually exited the freeway, made a left turn all on Autopilot automatically. So if we hit the green, we might have that happen. If not, trust me, it was cool. Let me fix the camera. Alright. Okay, so navigate and Autopilot has completed since we are on the highway exit, but I will leave Autopilot enabled and see how it handles the exit. Slowed us down to 45. Looks like we got the yellow light, so we're not gonna have it do the full exit automatically, unfortunately, but we're gonna have to stop it here. Alright, foot on brake. So we just did, how many miles was that? I probably should have actually looked. Maybe 15-mile round trip over 3 freeways. Without me touching the accelerator, without me touching the turn signal. All I had to do was put a little bit of pressure on the wheel and it did it automatically. So very excited for this release. It's been a long time waiting. Performs well. I'm very content with how it handles, and I see some room for improvement. Lane merging, where it tries to center itself on merged lanes and then aggressively move back over, that needs to be fixed. I think they'll have that fixed in no time. But so far, very happy. So if you have any questions about the drive, about navigating on Autopilot, etc., ask in the comments and I will answer them. So thanks for watching.